Come on. We will win. Because we will hit all game. We are motivated. We are dedicated. Come on now. Come on now. We will win. Because we are the best on the field. And we hit the field like all day light, all night light, on the blue light, offense light, defense light, his squad light, house call light, and it sound light, and it sound light, and it sound light.
Yeah.
It's official. It's official. It's official.
Combine season is upon us.
I'ma do this here forever.
EQ.
Forever.
Triune.
Forever.
Yeah.
Forever. I'ma do this here forever. All you haters better be gone. This the day you've been waiting on your.
Welcome to the Short Sports Show. I'm your host, Daniel Short. Today is Wednesday, April 20th, 2016. Thank you all for joining. I am excited for today's show. We got just a bunch of news, college football news, NFL news, NBA news. Of course, we'll talk about that as well. Just a bunch of stuff, a bunch of topics to talk about. Obviously, we are a little bit late since the show is on Wednesday, so we already know the NFL schedule. You guys have had a chance to check out your team's schedule as well as your opponent's schedule and debate whether you like it, whether you don't like it. Is a bye week too far away? Is it too close? Who are you playing some teams on the road too early, like the New York Jets? We got a whole lot to talk about, but I do want to add a quick little change to the show because of that. Mondays have become a little bit more open for me, and as we all know, when the season picks up, we have the show on Mondays and Fridays. So what we're going to end up doing is actually switching the show. We are going to make it, instead of Wednesdays right now, off season, we are going to switch it to Mondays. So starting next week, the Short Sports Show will be on Monday the 25th. I just wanted to make sure. Monday the 25th, just because a lot of news happens over the weekend. A lot of things happen. Usually I kept it on Wednesdays because I was like, all right, it's in the middle of the week. We got stuff to talk about. But I find that we're a little bit too late to the action. We're a little bit too late. So put it on Mondays from now on. And then when the season picks up, Mondays and Fridays back to where normal. So again, Mondays starting this upcoming week on the 25th, the Short Sports Show on there. So let's move on. The intro you guys just heard is from Triune featuring EQ. It is their song Forever. You can hear it on iTunes. Get it on there, Google Play, wherever you want to get it. It is there. Links are down in the description down below. What else do we got? I'm trying to think of other news. It is completely raining once again. Of course, yesterday it is fine. No rain here in Central Texas. At least not here in San Marcos. There's no rain. And of course, today when we do the show, it decides to be all cloudy and dark. And I got to use my ghetto lights in the background for when we do videos. But it's all good. It's all good. And before we get started with the show, be sure to follow me on Twitter at Short Sports Show. Become a fan on Facebook, The Short Sports Show. All links are in the description down below, no matter where you're listening to. And again, thank you guys for joining us. We're going to talk about some college football news first, as always. And that is Arkansas. They named their new starting quarterback, but it's going to be a little bit of the same, at least name-wise. His name is Austin Allen. He has been named the starter by head coach Brent Bielema as the Razorbacks near the final week of spring practice. Now, Allen is a junior, and the name sounds familiar is because his older brother, Brandon Allen, was the starting quarterback for the past 3 seasons for the Razorbacks. So now Austin Allen takes over the job as a junior, and in his time last season, very limited, of 8 of 16 for 153 yards on the season. And he did pretty well on their scrimmage, their spring game. 15 of 18, 3 touchdowns last weekend. And that got him. That got him the job. Apparently he was already, the favorite, not because of his brother, but just the way he played and everything else that goes into it. He was labeled as the favorite to replace him. And now he secured the position. He got it. So good news for Arkansas as they now have a starting quarterback to go into summer and fall. But a guy that Notre Dame might not have is their wide receiver, Corey Robinson, the son of Basketball Hall of Famer David Robinson. He said after suffering 3 concussions in the past year, he will decide on his football future in the next couple of weeks. Head coach Brian Kelly said on Friday, quote, I think he understands that he's got to make a decision here pretty quickly because we're going to go right into weight training next week. We'll have some time off in May, and then we're back at it in June. So my expectation is that we have something here within the next couple of weeks. Now, head coach Brian Kelly also said that Corey Robinson has met with Dr. Jeff Kutcher, the National Director of Sports Neurology Clinic, which specializes, of course, in sports concussion management and treatment. Now, Robinson, he's got a life, of course, outside of football, and that is and that's mostly why he's thinking about maybe I should just hang up the cleats. He was elected Notre Dame's student body president in February, and he has a chance to graduate this May and explore other opportunities, including becoming an ACE teacher, teaching fellow and volunteering in Brazil. So, he's asking advice from his dad, his other family, and friends, and he says, quote, if I can find it, take advantage of the opportunities right in your face. So he's saying, look, I've got other things I could do that I like to do and won't get any concussions out of it, most likely. Now, last season, he played 12 games for the Fighting Irish, catching 16 passes for 200 yards and a touchdown. And during his college career in 38 games, he has 65 catches for 896 yards and 7 touchdowns. But he would also, if he did decide to return for the Fighting Irish in 2016, he would be the leading returning career receiver for Notre Dame. Will Fuller is gone. He would be the guy they would look to. He has the most experience. He has the most catches. So it's a weird opportunity. Had it been where there's some other guys ahead of him, that I think this decision would be a little bit easier for him to say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead. I only caught 16 passes last season. I'm going to go ahead and just take on these other opportunities. Now he might be the lead guy. Makes it a little bit more difficult for him. Obviously, as a football fan, we hope he does play, but at the same time, hope he's a smart guy, so he knows what he's going to do and be safe with it. Now, I've heard over the past couple of weeks that a lot of people just do not like the spring games, the spring practices, the spring scrimmages, whatever they want to call it. A lot of people just don't like it. And I've noticed it's a lot of the small town writers that just don't like it, or maybe the people with just lesser teams. But honestly, to me, as a true football fan, as a person who loves watching football, especially when we still got several more months before we get any taste of action, I love spring games. I love the scrimmages. They're called spring games. I mean, I love them. I don't care if they have some crazy rules where, every time you get a first down, it's a point, or every time you get past a certain line, it's a point. And crazy things like that. I don't care. It makes it more interesting. It makes it more fun. And again, it is our last bit of action until late summer. So why not enjoy it? But apparently there's a lot of people that just hate it. They say it's pointless. They think it's dumb. They think it's all these negative things. And it blows my mind. It's like, okay, well, if you hate it so much, don't watch it. Don't watch it. You don't have to knack at it and just say that it's terrible and it's bad, because apparently Georgia fans, they love it. All 93,000 people went to go watch the Georgia spring game. They broke the SEC record over Alabama. They broke that record. Alabama had it back in 2011 with 92,310 people. Georgia had it with 93,000. It's not just a scrimmage. These people love football. They love their team. It's the best way to support. It's an awesome thing. Ohio State, they did it once again. Over 100,000 people went to Ohio State to watch that spring game. 100,189 was the total. That is absolutely incredible. I don't understand. Just because, I really don't know. I really don't know. I love it. There's other people that just absolutely love it as well. We get it. It's for the fans. They don't show a whole lot. I mean, for people that expect them to show an actual game, to show what plays they're going to run this upcoming season, that's your own fault for setting those stupid expectations. It's ridiculous. This is a fun game. It's a scrimmage. People want to call it a practice. I don't see any practices that really go game time other than the last 10 minutes that they usually do at the end of practices. This is a spring game. So hashtag not just a scrimmage. That's what I've been posting every time there's been a game. I think most of them are ending or they end this week. But again, I love spring games all over the country, all over majority of teams. Obviously not Baylor and SMU, but I love watching them. And I think it's fun. I love them. I absolutely love them. You don't? Oh, well. I think they're great. I think they're amazing. Now, Texas has they had their spring game. And before it got all terrible with the rain and everything, it wasn't that bad. And it was interesting to watch. I'm not a Texas fan, but I wanted to see what they're going to look like. Is there anything going to be different? Obviously, they have Sterling Gilbert as their new offensive coordinator. About 5 other position coaches that are on the team now. How are they going to look? Well, they looked okay. I'll say that. They looked okay. There's some promising things, and there's some things that they obviously still need to work at. That doesn't, a lot of people want to jump. Oh, their offense looks great now. All right, we're going to go for an 8-4 season. Let's hold on a little bit. Let's hold on. Now, Shane Buechele, he threw for 299 yards and 2 touchdowns on 22 of 41 passing. Not bad, but again, and I'm not here to knock Texas at all. That's not my point. But you got to understand, and I get it, it's his first game in college, right? It's his first time going out there other than in practice. This is his first live action. If he's going to be a starter quarterback, obviously 22 of 41 and just slinging majority of those passes that he was is not going to work against Oklahoma, against Oklahoma State, against TCU, teams with better defenses than Texas. It's just not going to happen. Now, Tyrone Swoops, the senior, he was 4 of 16, 71 yards and 2 interceptions, while one of those interceptions should have been a touchdown, but the receiver let go of it. Actually, he dropped it. It hit the ground, but they didn't review it. And it was end up calling an interception because the cornerback stripped it. Either way, it should have been incomplete because the receiver dropped it. But had he held on, it should have been a touchdown. Crazy stuff. He didn't look all that great either. Coach Charlie Strong said Shane did have a good day, a really good day. Tyrone has had his days. He didn't have it today. But at practice, you see it happening. Again, now first-year offensive coordinator Sterling Gilbert said he'll judge these spring game showings as just one more practice and one more data point in his process toward determining who will lead the Longhorns in their season opener against Notre Dame. Remember, on Sunday night, they switched it, prime time, just for them, blah, blah, blah. Sterling Gilbert said, quote, "We still have a lot of work to do. We've got a lot of football left. We got the summer, and we got it 2-a-days. There's still a lot of process, a lot of evaluations to go through, and a lot of reps. And by no means did anybody play perfect today." Absolutely true. Perfect thing. Exactly what he should have said. Exactly what he should have said. Now, the other factor into this quarterback competition at Texas is Gerard Hurd. Now, he was a 10-game starter last season. More dynamic player than Shane, than Tyrone Swoops. Much more dynamic player. But he's had to sit out the last 2 weeks of practice and the spring game with a shoulder injury, which Sterling Gilbert says, as much as I like to go fast, I want that thing to be right on the quarterback competition. So he understands Gerard Hurd did not play, so he's not going to just determine, all right, you didn't play, but Shane did pretty well. We're going to throw that guy right in there. He's our leader right now. Because he knows what Gerard Hurd can bring to the table. He's seen him in a few practices that they had before Gerard Hurd got hurt. Me personally, I think it's a tough quarterback competition, but it's a really good one that Texas hasn't had in a while. They've had quarterback competitions ever since Colt McCoy left, but none of them have been good quarterbacks. None of them have been a good quarterback competition. They've only had it because there was no good quarterback. Now you have a really good quarterback competition that if Swoops ends up getting the nod because of being a senior, being more experienced, being hopefully a more of a leader, which that is what seems to put him down a lot other than his just a playing ability, is that he hasn't been known to be a leader. Maybe he gets the nod, and then Shane can sit back, Gerard can sit back, both the young guys, and say, all right, see what can happen. But it makes you wonder what will happen with Shane. Now, he did an amazing job. He shows potential of being the starter, if not this year, next year, and possibly, I doubt he doesn't beat Gerard Hurd next season. Unless Gerard Hurd becomes the next Colin Kaepernick, which he reminds me a lot of. Unless he becomes that, I think Shane has this next year and on to the future until he's gone. It'd be good for Shane, but you got to wonder if he gets a red shirt or not. In Texas, of course, it was with Mac Brown. They didn't do a good job with redshirting. They redshirt. I don't know if it was a quarterback or a receiver. I can't remember. And they redshirted him the entire season until the bowl game. And they ended up playing him in the bowl game because of another injury happened. Burned his entire red shirt, so that whole year was wasted. Can't get another red shirt. So you got to think, all right, do we want to keep Shane here longer and just say, all right, we're going to go with Gerard and Tyrone Swoops, and we got to hope that if we redshirt Shane, that's it, he's done. We don't want to burn it. That hasn't been talked about. I doubt it happens because we know that Tyrone Swoops is not reliable. He's not consistent. Neither is Gerard Hurd to move that offense. Shane looks like the guy to do it. But do you really want to throw in a freshman again and get burned? Watch him get hit a lot more, maybe get roughed up. And we've seen what happens to quarterbacks when they're not used to it and they get roughed up a little bit. Their confidence goes down, their self-esteem goes down, and overall their playing ability starts to go down as well. Don't want to have that happen with Shane. Overall, I think Texas fans should be happy. You have a good quarterback competition. Obviously, the play calling was going to be really vanilla. It was going to be real plain. But from what you saw, a lot more productive than past offensive. What I saw, offensive line, inconsistent, and that's going to be a problem. Receivers, they drop a lot of passes, a lot of easy passes that should be there. They drop a lot of them. And that's part of the problem with Swoops, of him being 4 for 16, and part of Shane for being 22-41. There are a lot of drops that you just cannot happen against the Big 12 defenses, especially Notre Dame early, because they will change that game very, very quickly. Overall, very happy. If you're a Texas fan, be happy. I still think you're a year away from being an 8-4 team. I think this season, obviously, I would have to look at the complete record, which I plan on doing each conference by conference, team by team of the Power 5 video predictions here on YouTube, so be sure to check that out. I should have it up in a couple weeks. But overall, be happy, but I think you're a year off from being that team. So we'll just have to see on that. As we move forward, the Michigan State Spartans defensive line took a blow on Monday when the school announced that redshirt sophomores Montez Sweat and Craig Evans were leaving the team for personal reasons. Now, Evans played in all 14 games in 2015 and collected 21 tackles and a sack during the season that landed him on ESPN.com's freshman All-Big Ten team. Head coach Mark D'Antonio suspended Sweat in late September last season, but he was expected to compete for a starting job if he returned to the coaching staff's good graces this fall, which apparently looks like it didn't happen, and that's why he's bye-bye. He's gone. And again, they've lost Shalik Calhoun, Loris Thomas. They're all gone, so this defensive line needed some depth, needed some guys to step up, and, well, now they're gone. Now, they haven't said if they will transfer and where they might transfer. That has not been released yet. No thoughts of any possible teams. Obviously, it looks like for these guys, since being sophomores, having to sit out an upcoming season, they might just go to the FCS, or being a sophomore, they might just say, you know what, we can burn our junior year and go back and play. So we'll have to see with that. But Michigan State does have their spring scrimmage at 3 p.m. Saturday. And I keep calling it a scrimmage. It's not a scrimmage. It is a scrimmage, but whatever. It's a spring game. I love spring games. I don't know why people knock it so much. I really don't. I love it. Just like I love watching preseason. I watch all the preseason games that I could possibly can. I bought that package on NFL.com, the preseason package where you can watch all the preseason games. I did that multiple times. I didn't do it last year. I was broke. But I might do it this year if a little bit of extra cash comes in. I might do it. Which you can now donate on the Short Sports Show YouTube channel. You can donate. Help me get some better equipment. Help me get some better lights. That's for sure. I think that's the next thing I'm going to get is some lights. I don't want to go too crazy going to school here in a couple of months, but I want to get something a little bit better than what I got right now. I just got some normal lights. But anyways, you can donate on the Short Sports Show's YouTube channel, as well as I started this new thing, which I will try to bring it up here pretty quickly. First we'll talk about this news, but I'll show you. Last bit of college football news. Now, the decision to ban athletic satellite camps has been the big deal over the past couple of weeks, whether they should stay, where they should go, and then eventually the NCAA passed it where it's not happening no more. Now, there's also been talk that, well, we might revisit it within a year or two and see, if we should bring it back or whatnot. But another rule passed that recently should have a big impact on the NCAA and recruiting. Actually will, have a big impact. Proposal 2015-52 will allow institutions to pay the actual round-trip cost for a prospective student athlete's parents or legal guardians to accompany the prospect on his official visit, and will be implemented August 1st of 2016. Now, the vote passed 14-1 with only the Sun Belt Conference voting against it. That's just, they're stupid. According to the NCAA's Division I Council report, now obviously, I guess, Sun Belt, a lot of those teams don't generate a ton of money. So they're like, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. Well, too bad. So sad. It's a good rule. The current rule allowed for only the prospect's travel and accommodations to be paid for and prohibits schools from paying for transportation costs incurred by relatives, friends, or legal guardians. Now, under that rule, prospects were either taking official visits by themselves or parents, guardians, or high school coaches were taking on the cost to accompany the recruit on the visit. The new rule specifies the funds will be available for transportation and meals for the parents or guardians. Prospective student athletes are permitted to take 5 official visits starting on the first day of classes of the prospective student athlete's senior year. So this will be in place for the class of 2017, this upcoming class. Very, very important. Very, very good news at the same time. Because this opens up a lot of things, for now, it's a first step in the NCAA trying to do something right for the student, not by the student, but for the student. Because now the parents who are from those low income families, or even just mid income, it's still pretty tough. I mean, especially if you're all the way out in New Jersey and there's that star player, but he wants to visit TCU, he wants to visit Miami, he wants to visit UCLA or even Arizona State, stuff like that. That is a tough thing for parents to do, to fly all the way out there and then fly back. I mean, you're looking easily $800 depending on what airline. And I use Southwest Airlines usually because they're the cheaper ones and you can rely on them and you don't have any problems. And really depending on, I look from when I flew from San Antonio to Seattle, Washington, that ran up close to $600, $700 round trip. It's not cheap. So, I was able to get it, but there are some other parents and guardians, high school coaches especially, that might not be able to tell that kid, hey, we just can't do it. You're just going to have to basically take like an online virtual tour or look up whatever videos you can on YouTube that these schools have facility tours. And that's it. And talk to them over the phone, Skype, whatever. Thankfully, we have Periscope. That kind of helps a little bit. You're able to live stream and just say, hey, you want to check this out? We'll give you tours like that. But now schools which generate multi-millions of dollars now are able to say, hey, we don't care where you're at in the United States, Canada, wherever. We will pay for you round trip, not your hotel, but just to come over here, and for food, which food isn't a big thing. It's just the transportation. We will help you out here. We'll pay for it fully, which works out for a ton of athletes that want to get this done. Now, it does make it tougher though for the schools in that they're going to say, all right, which kids do we really want to pay for? Because, obviously when you're that bigger school, all student athletes are going to want to take a visit to that university. So then they're going to have to say, all right, we can look at, a few of the top players and say, hey, all right, we'll take, shot at you. Coach is going to talk to schools who we're going to give automatic official visits and things like that. And I think they're going to end up telling kids that are in like a 25 to maybe even 50-mile radius to say, hey, look, you need to make the drive over here so that we can get this kid that's in a completely different state, pay for his stuff, because 50 miles, that's a good, half a day trip that you can or not even half a day, that you can make on your own. It shouldn't be a problem, But we'll just have to see. Obviously, it's different for everyone. The one thing I was talking about earlier was this thing called... I'm not even going to try. Patreon. Anyways, it's a thing, and I will put the link in the description in this episode. You can now, it's like a Kickstarter, except it's a per month type of thing, and you can help donate and help support the Short Sports Show. It's now on there. You for every, I have I think 3 or 4 different support things that you could do. Support. I don't think they're goals. I have a goal, which is $1,500. But there is a different plans that you can pay for, and some of them are limited, some of them are unlimited, and you can get something. You get something in return for doing it. So it's not like, all right, here's the money, thanks. You get something in return for each of the different areas for different costs. So be sure to check that out. The link will be in the description down below. So go check that out, and it has all the information on there. The video that plays on that homepage will be the most recent updated video for you guys to listen to and watch. That is also on YouTube. But it's an awesome way to help support the show and be able to reach some of these goals that I can, help improve the show. Basically, it's not for me just to get paid from the show. It's important, add new lights, for example. Is one thing. Get it better. I think I like Adobe Audition, so I think we're good with software. I've been looking at the MacBooks because they render a ton faster, apparently, than my desktop, which is a little bit crazy because I spend good money on this desktop. But possibly getting a MacBook, just helping me out a little bit. Any support will do, of course. Even a tweet, a retweet, a Facebook post, social media post, that helps me out a ton. It doesn't just have to be cash. It doesn't have to be money. It can be social media input. Helps me out a ton. A rating on iTunes helps me out even more. So thank you guys so much, of course, for always doing this. I wouldn't be able to do this without you. Any support is awesome. So thank you guys so much. Because if not, well, I'd just be talking in a microphone and looking at my computer screen for just about nobody. But thank you guys again so much for y'all's support. All right, let's move on to the NFL. And we got a lot of videos, a lot of things to talk about. And, of course, the biggest one was over the week, and that's why we're moving the show back to Mondays, because we need to get on top of this a lot sooner. The Los Angeles Rams officials will meet with both Cal quarterback Jared Goff and North Dakota State quarterback Carson Wentz ahead of the NFL draft, which is just coming up. We're good. What? Let's see. What? 2 days in a week? Man, it feels good. It feels good. The NFL draft is almost here. Now, of course, the Rams acquired the number 1 overall selection from the Tennessee Titans in a big trade on Thursday, of course, after the show. And some sources are saying that the Rams are leaning towards Goff. But They don't know yet. They just don't know yet. Because remember, it doesn't have to be a big deal for them. They can just go ahead and even sign the quarterback or the player right now. If they made the decision, say, all right, we're going to draft you first overall. Here's a contract. They can sign him then, get it done with, and then draft. It's happened before. Now, of course, Tennessee, they get King's ransom. They got it. They got exactly what John Robinson wanted, the general manager of the Tennessee Titans. They got exactly that, and it was a great trade for the Titans. Not so great trade for the Rams. We'll talk about that in just a second. Now, Rams head coach Jeff Fisher said Thursday that the team had already done private workouts for both players. Quote, we were the first ones in. We're familiar with both of them, in addition to those other prospects on the roster. So the skill sets are different. The personalities are different. The background is different. The competition is different. And that's what makes this such a challenge, end quote. Now, who should the Rams select? Would you go with Goff? Would you go with Wentz? I personally would have never made this trade if I was the Rams. Now, I've talked about it. I am a fan of Case Keenum. I really think this guy can be the quarterback. I don't think Houston should have ever let him go. I think Houston would have been better off with him. And Case Keenum can lead this. And it knocks him down a little bit because the Rams said just a couple months ago that Case Keenum is our number one quarterback. He is our guy. Despite the fact you had Nick Foles on the team, you have Sean Mannion, who's already a guy you drafted last year. Who has a big arm. That guy can sling it. Just obviously has to learn the NFL game and change it up a bit. But that guy knows what he's doing. I would have kept this unless the Rams are just sold on Larry Tunsil, which I doubt you trade all of that for an offensive lineman, or you're sold on Jalen Ramsey, who is the number one, top defensive back, unless you're sold on him, which I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if I'm the only one that's thought of this. I know I haven't seen anybody make an article or talk about it on the show or whatever that said the Rams might be interested in Jalen Ramsey. I mean, you think about it. They lost Jenkins in free agency. So why not have someone who can set that defensive backfield and make it an absolute force? You already have the defensive line. You can get some linebackers in this draft. Get that defensive backfield set up so that way you have that complete defense that you've been looking for a while. I mean, the NFC West, you only have the Cardinals and you only have the Seattle Seahawks as offensives. You know the 49ers are going to be garbage on offense. I don't like this trade if I'm a Rams fan. Whether this was because they're in the LA, so they had to make a splash or whatever, I don't like it. And no disrespect to Jared Goff or Carson Wentz. It's just the Rams should not be the team to do this. They should not have been the team to give up all those picks for something they could easily crash and burn with. So my question to you guys is, who would you go? Would you go Goff? Would you go Carson Wentz? Since the Rams are in this position and they can't obviously get out of it, I mean, you can't. You're not going to get back what you traded for or what you gave away. So I mean, it's not going to happen. If there is, I doubt there's a deal for number one again. I know I've heard a small talk about that, but just wipe that. Throw that away. Throw that away. Forget I even said that. That was just stupid. It's not going to happen. So what would you take? Would you take Goff? Would you take Wentz? If you're the Rams, you're stuck with it. If you pick those two players, I don't know. It's tough. Jared Goff has the bigger arm, or maybe not the bigger arm, but definitely throws in a spread, but somewhat pro style as well. California just runs a little bit differently. Wentz, another guy who has a tough arms, a big body guy, but played a couple years. This year obviously got hurt. I don't know. This is too tough for me. I mean, if you think about it, we take this all the way back to last season. If we take this back to last year, exactly 365 days ago, before the NFL draft of last season, would we have ever thought that Jared Goff and or Carson Wentz would be the top two quarterbacks who might go number one in 2016? I don't think so. I think we would have thought of the bigger names with the bigger schools. Maybe Dak Prescott takes the big jump. Maybe Cody Kessler finishes senior year out strong. I think there are other guys we would have thought much ahead of Jared Goff and Carson Wentz. This is what we got. I'm afraid. I don't know if any of these quarterbacks could actually do it. And if you're the Rams, I mean, what do? You have Nick Foles on roster. Do you end up saying, we'll keep him? You could possibly trade him, maybe get one of your second or third or fourth round picks out of it. What do you do with that? Do you trade Case Keenum maybe? I don't know. I'm not even going to say it. I don't want to even take a pick on this because it's tough either way. I take Jalen Ramsey. If I'm the Rams, screw it. Shock everyone. Shock everyone. Not my fault you made a stupid trade. Not my fault at all. But that's what I do. Let me know in the comment section what you guys would do. Would you select Jared Goff or Carson Wentz if you're the Rams? Or do you shock everyone and you take Jalen Ramsey to help your defense out even more? What do you do there? So we also have the 2016 NFL schedule, which is good and bad. I don't know why this year makes it a lot more difficult. Usually I like, obviously I think we all do. We like to predict what our team's record is going to be by the end of the year. We try to give it an estimate, a rough draft on what we think it might be. This season for me, and I look at a lot of these teams, and I don't see anybody or any teams that I think will do great. I mean, it's tough. I can't predict a record. And I don't know, it's just weird. Usually I can say, okay, that's a loss. But now I'm like, I look at it and I'm like, that really could go either way. That really could, Maybe that's just me. So we're going to give out some awards, though, for this 2016 NFL schedule. I know it's a little bit late, but we're just going to do it. We're just going to do it. Now, who faces the easiest schedule, and what about the toughest schedule? Well, straight the schedule based on last year's records. The San Francisco 49ers have the toughest schedule with an opponent win percentage of 0.548. That's higher than anybody else. While the Chicago Bears, they have a record season, who they're going against. They have the lowest. They have the easiest. And it's 0.452. So, not only are the 49ers possibly in a world of trouble, they might be even a bigger amount of trouble with the schedule if those records play out. Now, obviously, we can have a lot of those teams flip opposite sides of records, and maybe they have one of the easiest schedules. Doubt it, but that is something that can happen for the 49ers. It's going to be a rough season, 49ers. I'm sorry. It's going to be a rough season. But who has the worst first half of the season award? That's what we're going to give. And that's easily the New York Jets. Unless they come out on top, then, it was easiest for them. They play 6 road games through the first 9 weeks of the season. Thanks to the schedule where they play 1 home game followed by 2 road games 3 consecutive times. That's rough. That's real rough. Afterward, they're home for most of the campaign, which is obviously good. They have a 3-game homestand, and 5 of their final 7 games are at home. So if you can get through that first half, you're on your way. You're good. You're set. You got a whole lot of things in your favor. But if you struggle, and you struggle early, it might be done. It might be over. It might be too late. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. They're obviously going to have to win their first few home games, steal a couple on the road, and have that momentum late into the season where you have a 3-game homestand and also 5 of their 7 final games at home. What about the new award? We're going to have new awards. We're going to have this every year, guys. The Wakey Wakey Award or the Early Bird Gets the Worm Award. I don't know which one to name. I like both. I think both work. Let me know. The Raiders, they get it, as well as the Rams. The Raiders will play 5 games in the early afternoon slot this season, a time zone that will feel like on the West Coast of a 10 a.m. start. That includes 3 trips to the East to start the season over a 4-week stretch, including the games against the Saints, the Titans, and the Baltimore Ravens. All 5 of the Raiders' early road games fall in the first half of their schedule. Woo, Bruce Irvin did not like it at all. He is a fun guy to follow on Twitter. I even I started on the settings, you can set, whenever they retweet or tweet, you can set for a notification for it. I did it because it is funny. Majority of the stuff he says. Some of the stuff is kind of just boring, but sometimes you get that lottery ticket off him, and it is funny. And it was funny when he found out that the Raiders are going to be playing some really early games. And they play the most. Again, 5 early games that are going to feel like 10 a.m. to them. The Rams, they come close second. They're close second. 4 10 a.m. games for them. They throw in a 5th by virtue of their trip to London for a home game against the Giants. That's what you get when you move, and the NFL doesn't like it. So it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough for these 2 teams playing some early games. I think it was stupid by the NFL to do this for the Rams to play some early, feel like 10 a.m. games, because LA, they're gonna play a little bit different over there. So those are just 3 quick awards that I like to throw out. Again, the easiest and toughest schedules go to the Chicago Bears with the easiest at .452, and the San Francisco 49ers with .548 with the toughest. The Jets have the worst first half of the season with 6 of the first 9 games on the road. And the wakey and early bird gets the worm reward. It goes to the Oakland Raiders and the Los Angeles Rams, I still got to get used to that. I still have to get used to that. It's tough. It is definitely tough to get used to it. We also have another good thing. Another, not award, but I hope that's recorded. I don't know. I think I clicked it too many times. We have the top 5 games of the NFL schedule. Now, this is going to be fun. These are my top 5, and I think generally you're going to find these a lot of places. But I think we can all enjoy this. I think we would all like this. First, and this is not, all right, the number 1 top game is, I'm just going in order. I tried to do it by week to make it, simpler and easier, but I kind of screwed up with 2 and 3. So, oh well, just happens. So, number 1 is the Carolina Panthers taking on the Denver Broncos in Denver. Week 1, September 8th, 2016, Sunday Night Football on NBC. And it'll be definitely be interesting to see how Carolina responds to playing on the road against a team that got defeated for the Lombardi Trophy last season. For the Broncos, this is an opportunity to prove that they haven't regressed, that Brock Osweiler, screw him. We can win with insert quarterback name here, and we'll be all right. Defense is good. If Von Miller doesn't, he said he might. There's been talk that he might hold out until November, so we might not even see Von Miller, who was an impact player in that game. He might not even play, so maybe Carolina gets away with this. Who knows? That is week 1. Actually, I'll go ahead and switch it. And in week 2, September 18th, 2016 on Fox, the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Los Angeles Rams. It is the first game in LA since 1994 when both the Rams and the Raiders played before moving to Oakland and St. Louis, respectively. Now the Rams are back, and they're hosting the NFC West rival in the Seattle Seahawks. Why this game isn't on Thursday or Monday night is beyond me. Now, Sunday night is taken care of because Sunday night has the Minnesota Vikings opening up their brand new stadium, which I thought happened in 2017, not 2016, but happens this season. And they have Sunday night against the Green Bay Packers. So I understand Sunday night why that's taken care of, but this is your first game in Los Angeles. This needs to be nationally televised. Monday night's game is terrible. I already forgot who it was, but it was terrible. And also, Thursday night is not that good either. Why this game is on that is shocking. I don't know. I mean, the NFL is trying to milk some money out of this. Why not do that with this game? Now you put it on a normal afternoon game on Fox that, unless you make it the game of the week, majority of the people are not going to see it. And there's going to be a bunch of people that do not see this game. Why? That's wrong. But it is still a big game. It's one of the biggest games in 2016. Then we also have in week 9, November 13th, 2016, on Sunday Night Football, NBC. It is a Super Bowl rematch that we have not seen since, guess what? Super Bowl. And that's not the Carolina and the Broncos game. We already talked about that one. It is the Seattle Seahawks taking on the New England Patriots in Foxborough. Now, we all remember the last time these two teams met was Seattle down 28-24, and the ball inside New England's 1-yard line with 26 seconds left. Russell Wilson threw a slant to Ricardo Lockett that was ultimately picked off by Malcolm Butler, who became the Super Bowl hero to secure the Patriots' Super Bowl victory. Now these two teams will meet for the first time again since what ended up being a franchise-altering game for both teams. It was an incredible game. Run the ball. And so this will be a good game to watch. I think the NFL screwed Seattle here. I think Seattle should have been the home team. Since they did lose, they should have got all right, we'll help you out a little bit. Get the Seattle fans, the 12th man, cranking and everything. Seattle, Foxborough fans, Patriots fans, they don't get loud. Nothing like the Seattle Seahawks, that's for sure. Nobody gets loud like them. But definitely not the craziest fan base. Now, obviously, a lot of it's the time because it's cold. And week 9, November 13th, it might be even really cold. I don't know if we'll have snow, but that could be a reason why they don't yell. But Seattle, it gets cold up there, and these guys, men and women, boys and girls, they all cheer, and they're all loud. Would have made it more fun to be in Seattle. The fourth game of the 2016 season, if I said 2015 earlier, my bad, I feel like I did. The Houston Texans taking on Oakland Raiders? What? I typed that? Yes, I did. Week 11, November 20th, 2016, on ESPN, Monday night. Viva la Mexico! Woo! I don't have any, what are the Rockets? I don't even know if that's right to say. The Los Tejans take on the Los Raiders on Monday night on ESPN. It is in Mexico City. This game. Yeah. Woo! Do I not have anything? I know I should have had some props with me. I am half Hispanic, so I probably should have had something. I failed, you guys. I'm sorry. But anyways, not only is this an important game for the NFL as they go to Mexico for the first time since 2005 when the Los Cardinals took on the Los 49ers. I don't know if you just put Los in front of everything. I'm just going to go ahead and put it just because it makes sense. And that was in front of 103,467 fans in Mexico City. Not only is it important because of that, but both of these teams will most likely be fighting for an AFC wildcard spot come November. Now, if you checked up here, and I think I cut it off a little bit, that's my fault. I got my little helmet things. These are awesome, by the way. I have now changed it, so if you pause the video and you zoom in a little bit, or you can't zoom in, but you kind of just squint your eyes, tilt your head at a 45-degree angle, and just squint your eyes a little bit, see it perfectly. I have now put my way too early predictions on who is going to be in what place. So we got Seattle right here, NFC West, NFC South, NFC East, NFC North, NFC West, NFC East, AFC South, and did I say NFC? My fault. And AFC South over here. I know I should have put them in just order like the other side. But anyways, big time. You can have the predictions right there. And I have the Houston Texans. Actually, I have them in fourth. I'm not even going by this. I have them in fourth. I believe in the Jaguars and the Titans way too much. But the Oakland Raiders, I got them in second place behind the Kansas City Chiefs. Possibly. I think the Raiders take a huge leap. I think the Chargers, if we still suck, I think the Broncos fall a little bit. Watch out. Anyways, these guys might be, the Texans and the Raiders might be fighting for a AFC wildcard spot come November. and it'll be a more interesting game. If so, hopefully both teams are doing pretty well to make this game even more interesting for the fans. And finally, the last game, or I should say games, for the 2016 season. Number 5 is Week 17, January 1st, 2017, New Year's Day on both Fox and CBS. Ladies and gentlemen, it's every single game on New Year's Day. I'm talking all Week 17 games. It's an all-divisional game contest with playoff spots to be decided for. 12 games at 12 p.m. Central Time and only 4 games in the afternoon slot. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. Every single one of those games. Obviously, there's going to be, your handful like the Browns, possibly the Lions, that are going to be at the complete bottom. But there's going to be a lot of playoff spots to be decided for, and a lot of them are rivalry games. So it's going to be awesome. The divisional game contest, Week 17, last game of the top 5. Let me know your top 5 top NFL games. Excuse me, I just said top twice. And let me know in the comment section down below. And thank you guys for watching. So, we still got the show, guys. Don't worry. That was just for the video. And I think we only got like one more video, so don't worry, guys. We won't be doing it too much. But we got Johnny Manziel. Boy, oh boy, Johnny Football. This is the last time we're talking about Johnny Football, unless he dies or signs up with the team. And I'm serious. I'm not being extreme here. Not over-exaggerating. This is the last time we will talk about Johnny Manziel, unless he dies or he gets signed up by an NFL team. Not to be mean, not to be rude, not to be crude, not to be sound evil with it. That's the last time we're talking about him. He's not worth talking about anymore. Apparently, he's being accused of causing extensive damage to a house. I know you guys already heard this, so we won't talk about it too much. The client is seeking $31,580, including $19,580 of damage and replacement fees, with Johnny Manziel and a couple of his friends, stupid Drake follower, and he's hanging out with. Josh Gordon possibly was at the house at the time. Johnny Manziel has even lost his second agent in 2 months. Gone. Quit. And he said, I will terminate. It was Drew Rosenhaus. He said, I will give you 5 days and I will turn around the contract and I will still keep it. And if you get yourself some help. In those 5 days, he did not. Decided to keep partying, decided to keep getting drunk, decided to keep hanging out with stupid people. And Rosenhaus fired his first player in 27 years as an NFL agent. He had never fired an NFL player in his entire 27 years as being an NFL agent, and he did with Johnny Manziel. Nike, they have come out. I don't know why they didn't do it earlier, because it happened earlier. They're no longer an endorser of him. He's not an endorser of the brand, excuse me. They terminated the deal sometime after the 2015 season ended, but did not release it until now. Kind of weird. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Apparently, he even has a spokesperson, I should say, Denise Mitchells. She said, so many people only have one image of Jonathan, which I've never heard anybody call Johnny Manziel Jonathan. I understand it's kind of like a substitute, but I don't think that one works for him. But believe it or not, he takes all of this very seriously. He's hoping that he can clear up his personal issues, start interviewing agents, and see what he needs to do if he wants to play this year. What? Are you kidding me? Are you just as dumb as him? Or are you getting paid that good just to sound that stupid? I don't know. And you guys know me. If you've been here for a while, you know I'm a huge Johnny Manziel fan on the field, and I supported him even longer than I should have. I wanted him to sign. I wanted him to get his act. I want him still to get his act together. I think we all do, but we know how stupid he is and how stupid his friends are for not getting him there. And you even have to take a knock on Von Miller. He's saying he's my boy. He's my brother. We've been through it all. Are you that dumb to tell him that he needs help? And I'm talking Von Miller here. Are you that lost to tell him he needs help? Not to tell the media, yeah, he needs help, and we're doing the best for him. I'm talking to him because he's my boy. I've been down low before, and he was there with me. He helped me. What are you doing to help him? What are you doing with your multi-million potential contract? And you can't even tell him, hey, you need help? You can't drive him or that stupid Drake follower. He's stupid. I don't care for that guy. And I don't think he would do it anyways because he's that stupid. But no one can just say, hey, Johnny, we're going to go to a party tonight. It's going to be live. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be lit, blah, blah, blah. Let's go out and let's go drink, have fun. He's going to say, oh, yeah, sure. And why not just take him to a rehab? Why not? Have a couple of his buddies in there. So that way, if they have to force him in there, they do. And they throw him in there. I don't understand why they can't do that. If you're truly his boy, if you're truly his bro, if you're truly whatever you want to call yourself, why can't you do one simple thing that will actually be meaningful and help him? And I get it, you're supposed to help yourself and all this other stuff. He's beyond the point where he can help himself. He can't help himself anymore. He's lost. He doesn't know what he's doing. And for him to even say, quote, I'm hoping to take care of issues in front of me right now so I can focus on what I have to do to play in 2016. I also continue to be thankful for those who really know me and support me, end quote. I don't know. Nobody is supporting him. Nobody is. And I can see why, because you can't help somebody who doesn't want to be helped, that refuses to be helped. We all know this. We've heard it millions of times in movies and shows and in life. He refuses to be helped. You can't help him. But you got to keep trying. You got to keep trying. And one day someone will actually get through him, or we will hear on the news that Johnny Manziel is dead or in the hospital. It's bound to happen. It's bound to happen. I mean, all it takes, look at what happened with Will Smith. A simple bump, a tiny little bump on the car. Sure, he basically did a hit and run, but that little thing got Will Smith killed and almost killed his wife. Imagine what Johnny will do if he's really screwed up with drugs, alcohol, whatever it might be, and he runs into the wrong person at the wrong time. He's done. He's done. Let's see if Von Miller's truly his boy. Let's see if he's truly his boy and his brother and really wants to support him. Talking ain't going to do nothing. Talking is talking. Let's see what you actually do. And that is the last time we will talk about Johnny Manziel on this show unless he is dead or signs with the NFL team. And right now, probably the first one is what's most likely, which is sad. Really sad. The Pittsburgh Steelers have released quarterback Cortez Allen after 5 seasons. The team announced Friday. Allen, a 4th-round pick in 2011, finished his career in Pittsburgh with 150 tackles, 34 passes defended, and 6 interceptions. But he missed 15 games with a knee injury last year and was benched in 2014 after struggling with injuries and poor play. Now, apparently the Steelers asked Allen to take a pay cut with a salary of $4.4 million. He wasn't open to such, and so they just said, all right, you won't cut your pay? We'll just cut you. And they cut him. William Gay and Ross Cockrell are now the only Steelers cornerbacks with any starting experience. Don't be surprised Vernon Hargreaves III or Mackenzie Alexander are on that roster or the first-round draft pick on next Friday. Do not be surprised because they need it. They need it bad. And don't be surprised if like Cyrus Jones in the 3rd or 4th round goes there and a couple other DBs and safeties go there because Steelers need help. They want to compete with that defensive backfield because it is not getting any better for them. And releasing Allen takes a shot at their depth for them. So now we move on to Jaylon Smith, the Notre Dame linebacker, draft hopeful. Now he might have to redshirt his rookie season. Now Smith is a do-it-all linebacker who sadly tore it all. He tore 2 ligaments in his left knee in the Fiesta Bowl on January 1st against Ohio State. And we have Twitter news coming in. Bruce Feldman said to Notre Dame, asked head coach Brian Kelly of Notre Dame about Jaylon Smith, quote, "He's not a gamble. He's a smart business decision." He also cited his great attitude. Brian Kelly said it's just a matter of time before Jaylon Smith comes back and will emerge as one of the best linebackers in the NFL. That's just recently. That's just what happened right now at that time. But Smith combine medicals were discouraging. The reports of nerve damage and concern of when or even whether he could be expected to be kind of the star that he once was right now. And it's the best case that if you're willing to take him, you're willing to wait, which a couple teams have already done. This isn't a new thing because there are 2 teams last year. The Cincinnati Bengals, took offensive lineman Cedric Ogbuehi. Ogbuehi? I doubt that's right, but we're going to say Ogbuehi. And Arizona Cardinals took DJ Humphries, using their first-round picks on players they didn't expect to use in 2015. Now, of course, they were able to because Cincinnati Bengals, they knew they had a good shot at making the playoffs. Arizona Cardinals, same thing. Now, Arizona last year, they took Humphries as a protect lineman knowing that tackle Bobby Macy free agency was coming up, and they already had a roster that they could compete for a Super Bowl title. With Humphries sitting out a whole year, Arizona went, of course, 13-3, reached the NFC Championship game before getting smacked. So, those guys, they took a shot on, and we'll see if it works out this year. And those guys are pretty good before they got hurt. Now, again, there's no guarantee, there's no guarantee that any draft pick is going to be healthy anyways. God forbid, but the Rams, they traded up and they could get Goff or Wentz or whoever they select, and they could end up tearing an ACL in preseason. We saw that with Jacksonville's Deontay Fowler, Baltimore's Brashad Perryman, and Chicago's Kevin White. All those guys, top 10, top 15 draft picks, each of whom missed the entire season with injuries suffered after the NFL draft. Those 3 teams went 16-32 and are picking 5th, 6th, and 11th respectively in this year's draft. There's no guarantee. So what do you do for Jaylon Smith? Now, people were saying, Jaylon Smith, you should have listened. You should have never played. It was stupid for you to play. You knew you were going to be a top pick. And look, this is what happens when you play. It's wrong. It's wrong. One, that's just screwed up to say to him, first of all. And I guarantee those people didn't say it to his face. I guarantee you that. But you can't say that it would all worked out for him had he not played. Because then there's going to be character concerns. Why didn't you go out there and play your final game? I know, obviously the answer of him being worried about getting hurt. Well, are you going to be like that when it's preseason and we're asking you to play? Because there's a chance you can get hurt. If it's a game where we have the playoffs pretty much locked up, but we still want you to play, are you not going to want to play because you're scared to get hurt? Or did you think you're better than your team? Did you think you're above your team that you didn't have to play this was an important game? I mean, it's Notre Dame, Ohio State. This isn't a small bowl game. This is a Fiesta Bowl game. Yes, it wasn't for the playoffs, but it's basically that runner-up spot to the playoffs. And, it's and kind of, I don't know if you want to say it's a rivalry, but it's a big-time game. It's Notre Dame, Ohio State. It's not Notre Dame and, Akron or somebody. It's not Notre Dame versus whatever small team. You guys get the point. There would have been character concerns because Jaylon Smith didn't feel like it was necessary for him to play because he felt like he was the top pick. Jared Goff played, and look at him. Might be the number one quarterback. There's all these different things. I don't knock him. If you hear that, that's thunder. So we got to hurry this show up. I don't want to lose majority of this equipment. Basically, the thing is, would you want your team, whatever your favorite team is, would you want them to draft Jaylon Smith overall in the entire draft? That's the first question. Would you want them to draft Jaylon Smith, whether it's your first round pick or it's your 7th round pick? Would you want your team to draft? Now, if so, what round would you be comfortable with your team picking Jaylon Smith? Where would you feel is good and realistic? Don't say, all right, 7th round. Because there's most likely this guy's still going to get picked 4th or 5th, maybe even 3rd round. So be realistic. And if you feel realistic that 7th round, give a reason why. Give a reason why. Don't just say, oh, 7th round to the blank. Really? Come on now. Let me know. Let me know, because it's something, for me, as a Chargers fan, would I like Jaylon Smith? Yes. Are there still concerns? What round I feel comfortable? Honestly, because we have so many positions we got to fill. We got to fill the defensive line. We got to fill the defensive back safety area. We got to get some more depth at the linebacker position. We got more depth at offensive line. We need more depth at the receiver, even another running back. And then we got to think about a potential backup quarterback. And we only have 8 picks, I believe. Jaylon Smith, could you be that guy? I honestly, yes, I would like the Chargers to draft him, but only if he's available in the 5th, 6th round. And we have 2 picks in the 6th round, so I'm more lenient to say 6th round. Is that realistic? Will he be there? I don't think he will. But if he is, do I think my team should give him a shot? Absolutely. In the 6th round? Yes. Absolutely yes. 6th round to the Chargers? Yes. Only if we haven't drafted another linebacker. If we already drafted a linebacker, no thank you. We got other depth needing positions. If we've already taken a linebacker by that time, sorry. Love you, Jaylon Smith. Hope you become one of the best linebackers in NFL history. God, don't want you on my team if we already. I know it's weird to say that, but that's how it'd be. Let me know in the comment section down below. Tweet me at Short Sports Show. Become a fan on Facebook, The Short Sports Show. Now, Brian Hoyer, he was officially released by the Texans, and which is a little bit not shocking, but kind of like, were you not able to get anything out of it? Were you not able to get a 6th round or a 7th round pick? I mean, if you're going to give him up, basically, absolutely free. You're cutting him. He's done. Why not trade for him? There's got to be a team that would want him. 7th round, 6th round pick. Some team that's looking for maybe a backup quarterback so they don't have to waste the pick. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they tried. I mean, it's not like they're amateurs up there, which, I don't know. Texans, they paid, $18 million per year for freaking Brock Osweiler. They might be a bunch of amateurs. I don't know. But I would have tried to trade Brian Hoyer for at least the 6th, at least the 7th. And even if you think, maybe you could got a higher pick, well, you're giving them away from nothing, so might as well get a little something back. Now, Brian Hoyer, he's visiting the New York Jets. Now, whether, again, that's another bluff for the Jets to Ryan Fitzpatrick, who knows? Because obviously they brought in RG3 and did not sign him, which I would have signed RG3 over Brian Hoyer. Probably a stupid idea, but that's just me. Who knows if that's a bluff? Or maybe they say, look, Brian Hoyer, we could probably win with him. We can probably win with him. A little bit younger than Fitzpatrick. Probably cheaper, too. Don't have to waste the pick on a quarterback. Got Geno. We got the Baylor kid, which I forgot, Bryce Petty. There you go with that. If it's cheaper, I do it. The Chiefs' appeal to the NFL's anti-tampering charges were denied by the NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, which means they will not get back a 3rd-round choice in this year's draft or a 6th-round pick that they will lose in the 2017 NFL draft. The team's fine was reduced, from $250,000 to $200,000, and head coach Andy Reid, his fine went from $75,000 to $60,000. However, the $25,000 fine to general manager John Dorsey, that remains intact. So, getting pretty good chunk out. And that was because, the Chiefs, they contacted wide receiver Jeremy Maclin, who was a prospective free agent, but during the time, they were not allowed to talk to him, and he was still under contract with the Philadelphia Eagles. So, stupid. Weren't supposed to do that. Pro Bowl cornerback Josh Norman said that he will not report to voluntary offseason workouts when the Carolina Panthers begin their program on April 25th, this Monday. It hasn't signed a franchise tag, neither has Von Miller, and both have said, hey, we'll sit out a little while until you guys give us big money. I feel bad for the Broncos, man. They're trying to give guys the money, but they just can't. They don't have it right now. And the players, they want it. They want it all. Savages out there. The Cleveland Browns, last bit of NFL news. They have been engaged in trade talks involving the number 2 overall selection in the NFL draft, but are uncertain whether they will trade the pick, a team source said on Tuesday. Now, there was something, I believe, by Adam Schefter or somebody that I did not save, a tweet that said they want to get the deal done today and most likely to the Philadelphia Eagles. So the Eagles, would move up, I believe, number 15 to number 2. No other picks have been decided. I don't know. Eagles, it's really dumb. Again, for them, if they're trading for a quarterback, you got Sam Bradford. Yes, I know, not the greatest, but you're paying him a lot of money. You re-signed him to a lot of money too. And then you have Chase Daniels, who you paid him more than what a backup should get, but less than a starter. And you have him for 3 more years. You just brought him in. So now you're trying to bring in another quarterback that's going to take on a ton of money, take on a $21 million guaranteed contract at the very minimum. Because that's what top 5 players get. They get from $25 to $21 million guaranteed. A top 5 pick. And that's what you're doing for a quarterback? Eagles are just crumbling. They're crumbling. So who knows if the Browns, obviously it looks like the Browns won out, but also, and this could change some things up, the San Diego Chargers are getting calls for the number 3 overall pick, which are just, teams have just as much interest in that as the number 2 overall. So we could potentially have a complete brand new number 3, top 3, or 2 of the top 3 could be completely different teams. And it's going to be interesting. San Diego Chargers. As a Chargers fan, I will say this to any other Chargers fans that are listening out there. I don't know. I'm a little torn right now. I don't know if we should get Jalen Ramsey. I've heard more and I've watched more, and I'm thinking maybe our backfield would be okay if we went D-line first. I'm thinking we honestly take Joey Bosa. DeForest Buckner, I'm just... To me, he reminds me a lot of Deion Jones. And not because they both went to Oregon, but they're that tall, physical, slim defensive lineman. And we saw how it worked out for Deion Jones. What's to say it won't happen with Buckner? I'm just not sold. Joey Bosa, he can fit it. 3-4 guy, he can make it happen. He'll fit our system. And then we go on from there, and we can get another safety, Jaylon Curse, KJ Dillon, Corey Joseph. Is it Corey Joseph? Did I say that right? I believe so. The safety from West Virginia. There's some other safeties and DBs that we can get that, even though they're not Jalen Ramsey, but we got some other pressing needs. We really do. And I feel like our defensive backs are set enough for at least one more season that we can, get some, defensive lineman guys that we really need to fill up some depth and become starters. So either we take Joey Bosa at 3 or we trade out and get a bunch of draft picks. And I'm telling you, we better get a bunch. I know we won't get what a number 1 overall team got, like the Tennessee Titans, but I want a bunch. I want a couple of 2s. I want a couple 3s. and we don't trade anything out. We keep our draft picks. Maybe we give them one of our 6s and a 7 maybe, but we don't give them anything from the top 5 down. We don't give them anything. We just give them our number 3, and then they give us a couple stuff. If we got to trade a player to take away some cap space, hey, I'm down with that too. So we'll just have to see. But that's it for the NFL news. We'll talk a quick bit of NBA news as we wrap up the show here. The Celtics, they are down 0-2 to the Atlanta Hawks after an 89-71 loss. The series moves to Boston in hopes for a turnaround over there. The Spurs are just having their way with the Memphis Grizzlies with a 94-68 win in San Antonio as the Spurs go up 2-0 and look to complete a sweep 4-0 in Memphis. It's bad. It's bad. Spurs are just dominating. And tonight we have the Charlotte Hornets trying to rebound from a tough game 1 loss to the Miami Heat, who look even stronger without Chris Bosh. They look really, really well. The Pistons hope to finish the game after a close call with the number 1 seed Cleveland Cavaliers. And finally, the Los Angeles Clippers look to extend their lead to 2-0 over the Trailblazers before the series moves over to Portland. Guys, thank you so much for listening. And of course, the weather starts to get bright outside now. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching and supporting. Again, check out all the links in the description down below. Follow me on Twitter at Short Sports Show. Become a fan on Facebook, The Short Sports Show. Be sure to give this a rating on iTunes. Whether you're listening on iTunes or not, just go over there and give it a 5-star rating. Let everybody know you love it. Share it, tweet it, pin it, Facebook it. Whatever else out there, Instagram it. Thank you guys so much. Let them know that you're listening to the Short Sports Show. God bless all of you, and I will see you guys next Monday on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spreaker.com, YouTube, Stitcher Radio, SoundCloud. We are everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys so much. And as always, God first, God bless. I'm out. Peace.
Forever. I'ma do this here forever. Forever. I'ma do this here forever. Forever. I'ma do this here forever. Forever. I'ma do this here forever.
I didn't came way too far for me to stop it now. I didn't work way too hard just to drop it now. We came so